Hi, Susan, what's going on? I hope you're doing well. So I just wanted to check in and do a quick video for you in regards to this. Checking the flashing of the NIC on the switch to make sure that you can see it flashing and you can see and detect the determination of which computer is connected to what port. Now, the easy way obviously is if your wall port has a number and it says 46A, you go over to the patch panel, you find 46A, and then you find it on the switch. But if that's not the case, if it's just going into a wall, in a hole, whatever, you have no idea where it's going, then this is a second way to do it. Now, there is a catch to it, and the catch is going to be that the cable from each computer has to be directly going up to that switch. If there's many switches somewhere in the attic or in between, or there's little devices that it goes into and then it goes to another one, this will not work because the flashing will happen to the first terminal switch, but it has to be a direct cable. So look on the floor of each computer. If it's going to a mini switch, it's not going to work. Then we're going to have to use what's called a tone tester. We're going to have to put a device on it and it makes a sound. And then we have to do tone testing, which is on site having to do with the cable. But we're going to try it this way. So again, if you see that your computer has a cable and the cable goes all the way on to the home run where it comes into the switch, this will work. Now, what we're going to do just to get the concept of it, it is, let me give you the best example. If you were just to have one person, this is not something you're going to do. I'm just giving you an analogy. If you had one person staring at this at the lights flashing, and you were on your computer pulling the cable off and on and off and on, it would show the cable turn off and then turn on and then turn off and then turn on. But we're not going to actually physically have to have two people do that. So I have a batch file that I created for you that's pretending to do that. It's disabling the network adapter and then enabling it and then disabling it, enabling it every 5 seconds. So I'm going to walk you through here what you're going to do and how we're going to do it. And I'm happy to help. Let me share my full screen, and this is my Windows computer. Okay, so basically what you're going to do is you're going to have this file called blinklink.bat downloaded. So in mine, it's under downloads. But here's what I need you to do. I need you to make sure that your network device is named like the batch file wants it to be. If not, this is not going to work. So I'm going to tell you what it should be so you could write this down. So the first thing is you're going to take this file and you're going to save it to a USB drive. Save it to the USB and take that USB to the first computer you want to do it to. Since we're going to do it on yours, you don't need to put it on a USB. You could do it locally on your computer. But everybody else, you're going to need it on a USB. So copy this file into a USB device and then plug it into the computer. And then we're going to first make sure that the local area adapter is named like it should. So I'm going to open the batch file in the background so you can see the actual name. The actual name has to be local area connection. So write that down. Make sure you got the capital L for local, capital A for area, and capital C for connection. So it has to be named that, otherwise this won't work. Once you've written this down, then what we're going to do is, let me bring this window down to walk you through it. So on the bottom right of the computer, you're not going to see the wireless. You're going to see the wires, so the little square of the network. You're just going to right click it. You're going to open network and internet, right? And then you can see we have Ethernet right here. This is kind of what we're looking for. In Ethernet, on the right side, we're going to do change adapter options. So now it's going to take us to the screen I had up a second ago, which is really where the naming is. Now you notice that my adapter, because mine is USB, yours, the way you would tell if you have connected, you're not going to have this many. You're going to have a Wi-Fi if your computer has Wi-Fi, and you're going to have the one that's wired, and it's going to be showing that it's blue, not this X. Mine's not connected right now. So you're going to see it. What you're going to do is you're going to right click it. If it's not named how I mentioned it, you have to rename it. So I'm going to rename mine. Mine's called local network adapter, but we need it to be called local area connection. So we need it to be called that. I'm going to hit enter. So what's going to happen is you're going to take, now that it's set, you're going to take this batch file and you're gonna run it. Now, what that's gonna do is gonna disconnect your network, connect your network, disconnect, connect, disconnect, connect. So, but you have to run it as administrator. If you don't, this will not work. So I'm gonna show you this, and then I'm gonna show you the video of what it's doing on the switch. So I'm gonna run as an administrator, and as you can see, it's saying it's waiting for a few seconds, right? Then it's gonna run a command to disable it. Then it's gonna run a command to enable it, then disable, then enable. Now, if you pay attention to your computer and look at this guy right here, see how it says disabled? And if you keep an eye on it, it'll say enabled for a millisecond. It'll take a second. So I don't have a network cable connected to it, but yours would actually say enabled. But what we're looking for is we're going to have it to be gray and blue, gray and blue, gray and blue, which if you pay attention to the little computer, it's doing that. Now I'm going to turn on the camera of what it's doing on the switch. So give me a second. Here's the switch. Now pay attention to 46. Now there's a delay, so you don't have to make sure that they're identical, but your computer, when it says disabled, it goes dark. There's nothing there. There's no lights on 46. And then when it gets enabled, then it turns green. Then it disabled and it turns gray. That's how you know that's the computer you're looking for, because the other ones are always flashing. They never stop flashing. But since we make it disconnect for 5 seconds, it'll go dark and then it'll continue. Here, let me hit play again. It'll go dark and it'll go light. And in a few seconds, it'll go dark and stay dark. And then it'll go light again. So once it enables, it turns blue or green, however your switch is. And then when you disable it, it goes dark. So that's when you know that's your computer. And that's what we're looking for, is we're looking for that. Now, once you've discovered what that is, this is the biggest thing you have to do at the end. So you have to do it this way, otherwise your network stays disconnected. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take this black window and you're just gonna close it. So let me go ahead and close the window. Just X out of it. Now what's gonna happen is your local area is gonna stay disabled. So you want it to be enabled. If it's disabled, you're not gonna be able to use your computer. So all you do is you right click it and you hit enable. It'll take a second and you're back to normal. Now you can use your computer like you normally would. But that's the file that's gonna help you figure out the blinking and the not blinking and so on. And once you figured it out, great. Now let's say, for example, you did all of that and there's no blinking. You went back there and you never saw the one, because you're looking at the entire switch. They're all flashing, flashing. That one's gonna turn off and then turn on and then turn off and then turn on. You're gonna see it. It's gonna stand out above the other ones. Now, if you do not see that happening, that is because your computer cable is going to another room that has a switch. Maybe the room next to the office next to you. You know, maybe it's the opposite side in the warehouse. It's probably going there to a mini switch, and that's where you're gonna see the light go off and go on. In that case, you're not gonna be able to determine where it is because you have a hop or a mini switch in between the long cable. And then in that direction, we wouldn't be able to tell because it would be having to spaghetti them, take the switch out of the way, plug in the longer cable to you, which is a lot of work. That's why they make these devices that listen. You plug it into one and it sends a signal on the cable, and you use a wand over the switch and it starts beeping. And then you can figure it out that way too. But that's a little more on the complicated techie side to do that. And we would have to be on site, or, you know, it have to be done that way. But if you can do it this way and it helps, that would be great. So let me give you one more rundown through it, just so you have an idea. And this is just going to be a quick run through. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to put this blink nic.bat that I email you, and that's going to go into a USB drive. Once you've got that in the USB, you're going to plug it into the computer. You're going to open the network connections. Again, you can just go down to the bottom right and hit open network settings. And then you're going to hit Ethernet. And then on the right, change network adapter. So once we've got to that screen, we're naming the connection to be local area connection. If it's named different, NIC, LAN, something, just right click, rename it to local area connection. And then boom, once you've got going on, you're going to go to your batch file and then you're going to run it as administrator, which is going to require you to put in your credentials for the server's administrator. So you can put your Susan credentials. And then once the file, again, it's running, it's every 5 seconds, it will definitely turn off and then turn on that little device. So let me bring that up so you can see it. So we'll wait for a second and it's going to disable the device. And then it'll wait 5 seconds and it'll enable the device and so on and so on. So that's basically what you're looking for. While this is going, this won't stop. You walk over to the switch room or where the switches are on behind the server and you're staring at the switch and all of them are flashing except one that's turning off steady for 5 seconds and then turning on. That's when you can pull the cable and you're going to know that that's the one that you need to replace to upstairs. So, and then when you come back to your computer, you're just going to get out of that window. You're going to go back over to your network. You're going to enable it. And then once it's enabled, you're good to go. And then you can do it to the next system. So let me know if you get stuck or you have any issues, but it should be pretty easy as long as we don't have that middle switches like I mentioned, because the middle switches are going to be the problem. And the problem is getting the switches out of the way or doing a different thing. So let me know if you need some help. Okay.